Watcher. So, thanks everybody for turning up. Welcome to Ferrycroft. We were expecting about half as many people as turned up, so sorry for those who didn't get front row seats. But it's unprecedented in Ferrycroft, which is a great reflection on who we're celebrating tonight. I'm fortunate to have worked with such deep pool of talent these last 5 years, producing films, documentaries, music videos, books and songs. I think this project is right up there at the top. I'm proud of all the young folk who have excelled under this roof, some of whom are here tonight. I take great strength from the joy you bring to our projects. We have worked with young actors, writers, musicians, singers, photographers, filmmakers, sound recordists, makeup artists, illustrators and dancers. As our banner says, it takes courage to be creative. It requires great inner strength to take something from your heart and put it out there for all to see. Pigeonholes are for pigeons and not for people. At the writer's room, we don't tell you what to write, we encourage you to find your own voice and style. We don't have the high school obsession with enforcing strict narrative and structure that stifles creativity. And that's not a criticism of the English teachers. Some of them are our biggest fans and they would wish to be afforded the creative freedom we enjoy at Writer's Room. We encourage our writers to express what's important to them. It's easier said than done. Most writers are introverts, deep thinkers, and in many ways outsiders, and that's why I love them. They see the world with the blinkers off, both the harsh realities of life and the richness and wonder of our existence. Life is tough for teenagers these days. They have to find a way to overcome self-doubt and the ever-present peer pressure. Boredom has been usurped by fake validation from the endless deluge of nothingness that spews from their mobile phones. We all have them, but the trick is to use it and not let it use you. Boredom, or more accurately put, time free of distraction, is what leads to creativity. At Creative Walden, we consider our responsibility to deliver something that enhances the confidence that those brave enough to give it their all will be proud of now, 10 years or 20 years. Young people regularly hear the mantra of be yourself, but most people who say it don't mean it. They want you to be their version of yourself. I say don't write for anyone but your authentic self. Don't be cowed by fashion and public opinion. Be brave and speak for the truth that resides in your heart. Be bold and do it with passion. In the upside-down society we live in, young people are constantly encouraged to imitate inappropriate, image-obsessed, morally bankrupt celebrities who promote impossible dreams and sugar-coated nightmares. So I'm serious when I say that it's the Alice Bromells of this world who should be elevated as role models. Empowering voices with something genuine and important to say about life in the 21st century, and not just for girls, as both genders suffer from eating disorders and broader mental health issues. I can exclusively reveal to you some very exciting news. Alice has just been appointed the ambassador for the mental health charity Mind. I've learned so much from Alice during the 5 years she's been attending Writer's Room. When she first arrived, like many of our group, Alice was shy and lacking in confidence, but it was crystal clear from day one that she was not lacking in talent. Now Alice has become a valued team member, and her skill as a writer, bolstered by an intelligent sensitivity, is already bearing fruit in her connections with those who attend Ferrycroft every Wednesday evening. When Alice shared her story, End of the Ride, with me at a Writer's Room session back in 2018, I was so moved that even while I was driving home, I was formulating a plan to try and get it to a wider audience. A script was developed. Alfie Wells and I created a storyboard with the aim of making a short film. After missing out on lottery funding, we approached the Youth Initiative Working Group, headed by the Mayor, Richard Porch. They kindly sanctioned the finances so we could produce the audio play you will hear shortly, brought to life by Laura Somerville and her troupe of young actors from Stagecoach. You will also hear fine contributions from Lee MacDonald, Jane Nelson and Ken Gentry. The lead performers, Eleanor Armstrong and Alice Mandel, were so professional they are a real credit to the craft of acting. We're now going to listen to Alice, the audio play. Thank you.
Alice, you'll be fine, Alice. Just be yourself.
I was fine, but I wasn't being myself.
So Laura Somerville, the principal of Stagecoach Drama School, was due to be here and she would have been talking now. Unfortunately, her mother's been taken ill, so she's currently on her way up to Scotland. So we wish her well up there and hope her mother has a speedy recovery. Laura's skill as an acting coach really elevated this project, and you could see the direct line of professionalism running through all the young actors who performed in Alice's story. Laura was also the voice of the nurse in the play. Bubbly, friendly and focused. I'm sure her students would agree that Laura is an inspiring person to work with. As well as running Stagecoach, Laura is in the middle of a degree course studying mental health and spends most Friday nights manning a call line for people with mental health emergencies. In the play, a young Alice is played beautifully by Alice Mandel, and she transitions into teenage Alice, performed by the incredibly mature talent that is Eleanor Armstrong. Unfortunately for us, but not for her, Eleanor is currently sitting under a coconut tree in the Seychelles. I know you're thinking we pay these A-listers far too much, but talent like that doesn't come cheap. So Eleanor made this video before she left.
Hello, I'm Eleanor and I played teenage Alice, and I definitely didn't understand the significance this would have on my life when I auditioned for the role upwards of 6 months ago now. And even though I've only been in a small chapter of Alice's life, I am so proud of her for this and for her play, and I'm so thankful that I could not only hear her story but also be a help in her educating people on matters like anorexia, depression, anxiety, recovery, relapses, just the realities of mental health disorders. And she's written it in such a beautiful way, and it's so raw and real and honest, and she's made something really special, and I'm so happy to have been a part of it. So I won't waffle on for too long, but I'm going to read a poem that made me cry for like 17 minutes the first time I read it. So, Day Patient. I've never felt a love so fierce as I have for the strangers I met online, where we gathered to bite into our fears 6 times a day via the miracle of the internet. Different bodies, different paths, united by this roundabout that some of us have been on for years and at which others are just arriving. We smiled when the quiet girl spoke, and clapped when the girl who couldn't cry laughed as tears fell from her eyes. We cheered when someone took a fear and turned it into a food they could eat because they listened to us and not the voice in their head. And we sat quietly when another person lost their fight, as our friend grieved another life lost to the same illness that gathered us in the first place. We bought ourselves bunches of flowers that we turned up with the following week, coloured petals in different shaped vases, a promise to ourselves and a promise to each other that we will try to give ourselves what we need to grow. We built up trust and unravelled our truths from the knots that we tried to untangle, and then together we sewed up a patchwork of lessons and light that I now wrap myself in when I feel so alone that I forget I'm not the only one on this otherwise lonely journey. I never got to say goodbye before I got too poorly, and my journey took a different path. But to all of the girls that carried me through, I hope one day you give yourself a little bit of what you gave me. I'm really sorry I can't be at Fairycroft today, but other than that, Alice, well done. You've done amazingly, darling, and this is so special and amazing. Well done.
So now please welcome on the stage some of the stars of the play: Matilda Murray Palmer, Emily Gregor, Lily Rose Roos Davis, George August Capell Helm.
Beneath the same moon. This might be a poem, but I've lost the words I wanted to use to describe how proud I am of you. You were the stranger I already knew, with nothing to gain and everything to lose. You took a chance on me, brought together as the path of my illness crossed the path of yours, and kept apart by the 158 miles between us. My heart ached for yours. Beating in a ward I couldn't see, a ward with locked doors, fighting the illness for us both. But from hurting to healing, from daughter to mother, it is you that inspires me to recover, so I too can be happy again. You befriended your body and made it your home, not just for you, but for a child of your own. As you rebuilt a life for you both, I look to you like I do to the stars at night, learning from you that with darkness comes light, and then I remember that we exist beneath the same moon.
Money, she is the golden puddle that spills into every corner of the room, a charged ball of energy propelled by a mighty tail and wrapped in an amber fluff. She has no judgment and sees no flaws, perfectly unbothered by the ex-flower's pause that she still hasn't quite grown into. She laps up tears, rests her head on yours, and dreams as your heart beats to the sound of her snores. And as her chest rises and falls in time with mine, she begins to fix me, so that over time, unlike the toys that she's chewed apart, she patches together the grieving heart that barely fits into my chest. She is true, she is ours, she is Bonnie.
Tunnel vision. It took me a long time of chipping away at that inky and endless tunnel before I hit the rock that finally gave way, and the light came flooding in. It filled the hole with a blinding streak of, actually, things might not be this way forever. And the streaming light hit me and took the air right out my chest. As my body adjusted to the air and my mind adjusted to the light, I could finally see again. For the first time, through this hole in the rock, I glimpsed the beginnings of my new life. And I knew that the tunnel, that had been my home for so long, didn't have to stay my home forever.
The Hedgehog and the Caterpillar. Over coffee and cake, a hedgehog and a caterpillar sparked a friendship that kept them warm for years to come. Together, they bought magic silver rings and colourful clothes and found something good in every day, even though some days they had to look a little harder. They made friends with all sorts of quirky people. They smiled at strangers with friendly faces, and wherever they went, people would stop to say hello to the hedgehog and the caterpillar. And when the hedgehog felt sad, the caterpillar was there to remind her that she had strong spikes on her back and that she was mightier than she realised. And when the caterpillar felt sad, the hedgehog told her that soon she would be a butterfly that could fly away from anything that wasn't making her happy, but that everyone is a cocoon at some point. They learned that whilst you're never too young to hurt, you're never too old to heal. And when the world was grey and they couldn't see colour, they painted their own silver linings and swapped their old comfort zones for days that they turned into adventures, and adventures that they turned into stories that they will never stop writing. And as they sat and chatted to the birds beneath the rainbow sky, the caterpillar promised the hedgehog that there would always be time for coffee and cake, and the hedgehog looked to her friend and promised her back that she was strong enough now and brave enough to be the girl who decided to go for it. So that's exactly what she did.
Stars of Stagecoach. Well done. So representing some of the fabulous talent we have at Writers' Room, here's Izzy Logan and Becca Allen.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I met Alice at Day Patient in July. I'm very, very proud of her and I thank her for all the help she's given me. So I'm going to read a poem that she wrote called I Love You So Won't. I love you so won't. It hurts me when I eat and it hurts you when I don't. I'm making to accept defeat. I love you so I won't. This pain that I'm enduring is eating me up pound by pound. How do I tell you there is no curing a disease that wants me on the ground? Do you know how easy it would be to give in to the monster in my head? Yet day after day I face my worst fear, so you don't have to face yours instead. I would rather battle this thing in my brain so I let myself feel sore, because although I'd love to be free of pain, I love my family more.
Before I read, I just wanted to say how enormously proud I am of Alice, which I'm sure we all are. A lot of time and effort and emotion has gone into making this evening and all the achievements we're celebrating a reality. And I know Alice hasn't always allowed herself to be excited or proud, but I hope she's allowing herself to feel those things tonight because it's the least she deserves. The poem I'm about to read is called Speckled Light, which Alice incredibly kindly wrote for me. When she sent it to me, she said it wasn't about how much she loved me, because I already know that, which I do, but a reminder that it's always okay not to be okay. So, Speckled Light. Sometimes you are your strongest rays that flood the earth in summer. Sometimes you are speckled light that flutters through the crunch of leaves on a gentle autumn day. Sometimes you shelter amongst the vast city of clouds, and that's okay too. I look up to you and whisper that you are the same strong and powerful you when you are lost and the sky feels big, when you can barely muster the strength to glisten quietly in the distance, and when the courage you need feels so far away that you hide behind the very same clouds that often get in your way. Remember, dear friend, you don't have to glow every day, for even the sun has days off.
So I'm so glad the family and friends of Alice are here tonight to share this celebration. You stood by her through thick and thin. Your kindness, love and compassion are the foundations on which her beautifully crafted words stand. Your friendship is the lifeblood of her poems. And this is not the end of an incredible project. What you are witnessing is the beginning of a literary career. So good luck, Alice, and may your inkwell never run dry. Before we invite Alice to say a few words, I'd like to finish with a poem. It's called Creative Soul. Words dance like a ballerina on ice, powerfully fragile, delicately precise. Tortured creative soul, hidden then revealed. Beats of an authentic heart, effervescent ink from a fertile well. Meditations of life expressed through a healing pen. Trepidatious but brave, confronting the blank page. Difficult but vital. A graceful touch scores out the pain. Grasp those golden threads of light, for this is poetry, this is Alice. Alice Bromell, ladies and gentlemen.
Since writing the audio play back in 2018, I have returned to education, made it to uni and moved to Nottingham, been pulled out of uni and moved back home, been admitted to 2 day patient services that I've now been attending for almost a year, collapsed on my kitchen floor and ended up in hospital a few days before my 21st birthday, restored weight, moved out of home to live with friends in Cambridge, started a job that I love, and been diagnosed with ADHD. Today is the book launch of my poetry collection and audio play, and in 2 days' time I am, hopefully, being discharged from my current day patient service. As you can see, Recovery from an eating disorder is anything but straightforward. Anorexia currently impacts my life every single day, but for the first time, I can actually see a future without it. I'm going to end with a poem, but first of all, I would like to thank Paul for believing in me. Creative writing has been such an outlet for me. It has helped me to process and release some of the struggles I have faced with my mental health over the years, from when I was first diagnosed at age 16 all the way up to now. I first attended Writer's Room here at Fairycroft in 2018 and was always so nervous to share my work with anyone that I would make Paul go into a different room to read it. At Creative Walden's first book launch, I had a panic attack after reciting a poem in Hart's bookshop in town. I might be feeling just as anxious now, but fast forward a few years and suddenly I am standing on stage at my very own book launch, surrounded by my friends, family and professionals that have supported me through the hardest times of my life. I wouldn't be here without you. Thank you. This is I Am the Flame. Do not say you want to fix me, for I am not broken. I am still the meaning in these words. I am still the small shine of sun upon the frostbitten snow. I am still the hope that breaks into the crisp of dawn with every rising day. Do not tell me I am broken. I am still the rose that grew from the rain. I am still the heart that beats despite the pain. I am still the bruise that lingers day to day. Do not tell me I am the shell of a girl I used to be. Some days I am the dark room and four walls that never fade. But I am also the candle that floods this room with light. I am the courage that lurks on restless nights. I am the flame that burns despair into ash and weakness into fight.
So get down the bar and have some food and drink and enjoy the rest of the evening. Alice Bob. First I'd like to thank my fellow directors Roy Mason and Lee Dorrington, better known to fans of Lockdown TV as Phyllis Crotchety. My beautiful wife Angie, who's been sorting out our financial numbers and keeping them in check and trying to do the best with her husband. Also Richard, who's running the camera tonight, as usual. So many people contributed to the story of Creative Walden. I can't mention them all, but I can't continue without thanking some of them. My fellow presenter on Lockdown TV, Alfie Wells, the author and mental health guru, Mark Newey, Iron Maiden legend Dennis Stratton, stagecoach boss Laura Somerville, the author Jenny Lander, the actresses Rachel Harvey and Lee MacDonald, the Pitsons, the singer Joe Eden, the composer Paul Williams, the music producer Mark Sutherland, filmmaker Izzy Poles, filmmaker Lucas Warren and the Clements family, the sound recordist Pippa O'Mara, presenter Anna Percival, the Wasties, Lucy Taylor and all the dance troupe, Alfie Frostick and the Zombinis, the rock choir, the makeup artists Grace Morehouse, Rachel Mason and Maya Waring, the local musician James White, the Hortons, the Parkers, Jackie Portway, Natalie Easthope, Louisa Fresenda, the photographer Martin Porter, who will be taking pictures tonight, Saffron Jones, John Starr, Mark Starr, the Mayor, Heather Asker and Richard Porsche, the fabulous Gentry family, the musician Matt Swainsbury, and of course, the mighty Bellanies. We're incredibly grateful to the town councillors, the UDC councillors, tourist information managers, Walden Local, Hearts Books, Saffron Walden Arts Trust, the Round Table, Saffron Screen, Saffron Walden Museum, and Tim Atkinson and everybody at Faircroft House for showing faith in Creative Walden and allowing us to illustrate what can be done with a little bit of funding, the right commitment and a vision to give young folk the chance to express themselves with confidence. And for the best cuppa in town, nip down to Kim's Tea Rooms because they passionately promote all our projects. And I can't go without mentioning Bella the Freedom Dog.